Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Selena from Wholeness Campaign, and today I want to share with you some cheap options if you are trying to manage mold on a budget. Let's jump in. So we learned this afterwards. Now, even afterwards, I still wouldn't regret getting the full-on remediation because some of these cheaper options really don't deal with mold fully. They do deal with like the surface and like the air, but they're not actually removing the sources of contamination. So mold can essentially just like grow back, especially if it's on something like drywall. But if you really can't do anything and you just have $100, the first thing that I would do is get an ozone machine. So ozone is a gas that actually kills mold on contact. It will actually bind to mold in the air, negatively charged particles in the air, and weigh them down. So they end up like on surfaces and you can actually just wipe them. This is a really easy and cost-effective treatment. I have a link in my link tree on my bio on Instagram and also here on YouTube. If you're interested in finding like a good one, the one that we purchased really does help. And ozoning our house is something that we now do on a regular basis just to make sure that the air quality is staying good. And I'm sure there were imperfections in the remediation process still, and it just allows us to kind of keep a safe environment. So anything that comes into your house that you feel has been contaminated, you can just basically throw a tarp over it, put the ozone machine inside with the item, and then turn the ozone machine on for like 5 minutes, let it air out, and that item will have been kind of decontaminated unless the mold source is like deeply embedded into that item. It's a really good way to kind of like make sure that things aren't getting recontaminated, especially in a home. I feel like there's so many porous things. This is actually a trick that Dr. Becky recommended, and she would say to put the ozone machine on in a room, kind of close in the room, don't be in the room, turn it on for however the amount of time that's needed for that particular like space. Certain ozone machines can do different sizes of square footage, and you would turn it on for however long it needed, come in holding your breath, turn it off, open up the windows in that room, and then leave that space for a little bit and let it just air out. So we will do this to different rooms in our house. Maybe like our bedroom, we'll just do like turn it on in there for 30 minutes. It's like about 150 square foot bedroom, and then we'll come back, open all the windows, keeping the doors closed, leave the room because you don't want to be breathing in ozone, and then letting it just air out. So that's a really budget conscious simple way to manage mold if you can't afford a full-on remediation. The next thing I would also recommend is an air purifier. So we've got IntelliPures. We also have an air doctor here. That's my housemate, as well as an Austin air filter, which all of them are great options. They all honestly kind of do different things. For mold in particular, I would recommend the IntelliPure, which I'll link in the description box below. The IntelliPure filters down to the smallest micron of like any of the air filters I've seen, and so it's really effective in keeping mold out of the air. And it actually has a zeolite filter and carbon filter, which are some of the only ways you can filter mycotoxins out of the air. Mycotoxins are like mold toxins. They call them like mold farts. It's like a byproduct of mold being in a space. Not a lot of air purifiers actually filter those, and the IntelliPure does. And so that's like a great option if you are wanting to spend a good amount of money, but you don't have enough for a full remediation. That's something you could stick in a bedroom at night, that sort of thing. I also will just say that cleaning your HVAC system, getting it sanitized, can go a really long way. Your HVAC system oftentimes has never been cleaned. Ours looked like it hadn't been cleaned in probably like 20 years. We had thick layers of dust, and that just is like a breeding ground for mold. And so having a good company, one that doesn't just blow it everywhere, but they use negative pressure, ask them about that, using negative pressure to make sure it's not just like contaminating the whole space again, but like they basically go in there and vacuum the inside of your air vents to get any dust. We had like bird feathers. I don't even know. We had a lot of different things in there, but getting that out of the circulation system of your home, it's really like that's the stuff you're breathing in. So that's going to be go pretty far away. And honestly, you can get a really good one for like $3 to $500. And we noticed a dramatic decrease in symptoms when we just did that alone. So we did that before and then after our remediation. And honestly, like, we're doing it like every year now because it's been so worth it. We don't want stuff just building up there and us just breathing it in. Just be aware when they do that, they'll often try to recommend some kind of like toxic cleaner, either substitute it for force of nature, ask them if they'll use that, or you can just decline having any kind of chemical sanitizer. There are companies that use non-toxic sanitizers, so if you want to kind of vet those to find one that uses the non-toxic ones, that would be a great idea. But having the HVAC system cleaned and sanitized is like a good thing to do. Next, another thing that we did, you guys, we probably sounds like crazy that we've done all this stuff, but it really just made the most sense for us. We wanted to make sure this house was not a breeding ground for toxins. So we got an ionizer, a bipolar ionizer for our HVAC system. So this is something I'll link in the description box below, and you can ask your HVAC technician if they can install it. But they are basically these little boxes that release small amounts of ozone. So it's not like anything like ozoning a whole room, but it's really small amounts that go through your whole HVAC system and really works to kind of keep that sanitizing process going for the circulation system of your home. I know people who will use these like UV lights, and to be honest with you, my experience and research, they don't actually do as much as something like a bipolar ionizer. You don't want just a typical ionizer, but a bipolar ionizer. UV lights are basically just not strong enough to manage all of what can happen in an HVAC system. And also they're only managing what's on contact. And so it's only the air that gets filtered through it, which some of the air doesn't, as opposed to the ionizer, which releases a gas that actually can manage it all throughout your whole home, really. I know lots of people who've experienced a lot of relief from that type of gadget in their system. That was about $950. And really, if you're going dirt cheap, you can start to put plants around your home. I've heard that there was a study done in NASA that recommended one plant for every 100 square feet of your home. They do the work in and of themselves to filter toxins and mold and all that type of stuff. So that's a great option as well. And if you really need the absolutely total free option, is to just get outside and open all the windows in your house and let just cross ventilation do its work. Having outdoor air kind of like breathing through your home is a great free way to get started if you suspect you might have a mold issue in your home. One of the best things you can do is really de-stress, get outside in nature, and calm that nervous system down. Because as much as I'm giving you these tools, my hope is not that you have more fear or more stress in this area. Hopefully this just gives you a clear path forward so that you know where to go and what to do. If you got any value out of this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. It is my passion to walk alongside people as they heal and grow. It inspires me and hopefully brings encouragement to you. Thanks for watching.